best part about using a high protein diet and strength training to lose fat is I no longer have to live in a constant calorie deficit. These days, I spend more time eating at maintenance or even slightly above so I continue building muscle over time. But sometimes I take eating a little too far, like when I convince myself that peanut butter counts as protein, even though a few spoonfuls pack hundreds of fat calories, making it not the best choice. And it's in these times that I decide I'd like to lean out by losing another 5 or 10 pounds of fat. But even if you have more than a few pounds to lose, this approach still works, especially since breaking bigger goals down into smaller, more achievable goals, like losing only 10 pounds at a time, makes the process feel less overwhelming than staring down a 50 or 100-pound weight loss goal. Now, if you think that 10 pounds is too insignificant to even make a difference, trust me, it is way more than you realize. But here's the thing. Just because I want to lose 10 pounds of fat, that doesn't mean I want to drop 10 pounds on the scale as fast as I can. Because any drops that are more than half to 1.5% of my total weight each week is mostly water weight. Or worse, it's muscle loss. After losing 50 pounds and finally maintaining a healthy weight, I've learned that fat loss and weight loss are not the same thing. And if you're not careful with how you set your plan up, you could be losing just as much muscle as fat, which has happened to me more often than not, at least until I realized that being lean and toned isn't a goal that I'd ever reach if I didn't quit all of those quick weight loss hacks on Instagram. Because no one wants to go into their diet looking like SpongeBob SquarePants only to come out looking like SpongeBob Jr. So in this video, I'll walk you through exactly how I lose fat without sacrificing muscle, including the meals I eat, the activity routine that I follow, how I measure progress beyond the scale, and how long this process actually takes. Before we break down my exact routine, it's important to understand the method behind the madness, which all starts with choosing the right calorie deficit. Going all in and drastically cutting calories to lose weight is never a good idea, especially since low-calorie diets lead to losing just as much muscle as fat, which always leaves behind a weaker, softer version of you. Which is why a moderate calorie deficit is the way to go. According to this calorie calculator, that means around 2,100 calories with 150 grams of protein for me. And while the calculator also provides targets for carbs and fats, I never focus on hitting those numbers. After years of adhering to strict diet rules, I've found the best approach is to eat whichever foods help me maintain energy while staying in a calorie deficit. But just because a calculator says 2,100 calories, that doesn't mean that number guarantees steady fat loss. These estimates are based on averages, not individual factors like muscle mass, metabolism, and actual daily activity. If your activity levels are lower than expected, or your muscle isn't quite as high, adjustments will be necessary. And the only way to know for sure is to test and assess. After years of trial and error, 2,000 calories a day is my sweet spot for steady fat loss. But if you don't have years worth of data to look back on, the best approach is to start with the number that you calculate, track your progress, and then make any adjustments as needed. But progress needs to be measured over weeks, not days, which means patience is required. During a fat loss phase, my week is split into 3 different types of days. Active days where I focus on walking, some cardio, and stretching 4 days each week. Workout days where I focus on strength training in order to build more muscle, usually 2 to 3 days each week. And higher calorie days, which I plan for since I usually eat out 2 times on weekends. Since my routine varies, let's start with an example of my most common day, an active day that's focused on walking, maybe some additional cardio, and stretching. Active days typically fall on Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Saturday. And while I'm flexible if I need to switch days, I find it's best to establish a consistent schedule so I get consistent results, especially since it is way too easy to say, oh sure, I'll just strength train tomorrow. But when tomorrow comes, it somehow doesn't get done. I wake up around 6, which just stuck around from when my kids were babies. So I use the bathroom, check my weight, and throw on the workout clothes that I set out the night before. Then I pour a large bottle of water with a pinch of sea salt. Since I'm active in the morning, I also have a protein shake with a dash of caffeine so I have pep in my step for my morning activity. Even though I previously fasted through the morning, the older I get, the less stress my hormones can handle. So these days, I always fuel a long walk or workout with a protein shake. Since a full protein shake sometimes leads to bloating, I'm currently making a half protein shake to fuel my mornings, which consists of 4 ounces of water plus 4 ounces of unsweetened coconut milk, 2 ounces of frozen strawberries, half a scoop of Prime Equip protein powder, half a scoop of Prime pre-workout powder, and 5 grams of creatine monohydrate. If you're not taking creatine monohydrate, it is worth adding to your supplement routine since it helps with building muscle as well as improved cognitive function. If you have a sensitive stomach, start with only 1 gram per day, building up to 5 to even 10 grams daily. Combined with all of my morning activity that actually suppresses appetite, this shake keeps me full through mid-morning, starting my day with 117 calories with 14 grams of protein. And then I stretch. My 10-minute morning routine helps me stay active throughout the day, which is key for effective fat loss. After stretching, I take a quick 10-minute walk to get morning sunlight, which improves sleep as well as appetite control. Then I hop on my desk treadmill for an hour while I work. But also, some days I start the morning with a quick burst of sit cardio on the Stairmaster, and then follow that up with an hour of walking. It just depends on my energy level that day. Instead of trying to figure out high protein snacks in the late afternoon, I find it easier to have 2 high protein mini meals, and the first one happens around 10 a.m. Today I'm having one of my high protein favorites, a half grilled turkey and cheese with a side of berries, which is perfect for busy mornings because it's done in less than 5 minutes. To make this, I spray 1 slice of Dave's thin sliced bread with light cooking spray. Then I sprinkle on some garlic powder and toast. While that's toasting, I measure 5 ounces of boar's head honey turkey and add half an ounce of cheese. Once the garlic toast is ready, I add the turkey and cheese and then pop it back in until the cheese melts. While waiting, I measure out 6 ounces of berries, which makes a great low-calorie, high-fiber, and filling side. My first mini meal comes out to 357 calories with 43 grams of protein and 8 grams of fiber, which is great for satiety early in the day. And then I get some work done. Since sitting all day isn't great for fat loss, I make a point to get a quick burst of movement after eating or anytime I get up for a break. My routine isn't anything crazy. I just do a quick 2 to 3 minutes of bodyweight squats, push-ups, or even mobility work. As a bonus, these small trigger sessions help regulate blood sugar after meals while also preserving muscle while losing fat. That's because they send a reminder to my body to hold onto that muscle since I need it. Plus, they trick my body into thinking that I am way more athletic than I actually am. After my first mini meal, I make a low-calorie coffee shake, which helps with appetite control plus a late morning energy boost. By 1, I'm ready for my next mini meal, which today I'm turning taco meat leftovers into a Mexican pizza. To make this quick, high-protein meal, I spray a low-calorie tortilla with light cooking spray, and then I toast it in the air fryer. Once it's crispy, I layer on taco sauce, 5 ounces of lean taco meat, and an ounce of cheese. Then I add it back in until the cheese melts before topping with my favorite veggies and half an ounce of sour cream. As long as I use 93% lean beef, this meal comes out to 495 calories with 53 grams of protein. I love a bowl of popcorn as a late afternoon snack, and it only takes measuring an ounce of Skinny Pop to add another 3 grams of filling fiber to my day. Dinner is barbecue burger wraps, which is another high-protein meal that is packed with flavor. To make this easy recipe, start by chopping bacon and then frying in a skillet until crisp. While that cooks, add 2 pounds of lean ground beef into a skillet to brown. While it's browning, season with garlic powder, onion powder, pepper, and salt, and once it's all seasoned, stir in some chopped onions. After the beef browns, drain any excess fat before mixing in the crisp bacon bits and barbecue sauce. Then layer 6 ounces of the beef mixture onto a low-carb tortilla and add some lettuce for a slight crunch and enjoy. On the side, I have crispy air-fried green beans that I toss in light cooking spray before seasoning with garlic powder and salt. Dinner adds 502 calories with 50 grams of protein to my daily total. Since I still have plenty of calories left, I'm having 2 rice cake s'mores for dessert, which brings my total to 1,824 calories with 164.6 grams of protein. Even though I didn't hit my 2000 calorie target, that is totally fine since I save extra calories to splurge on the weekend. Plus, you should never eat past feeling full while you're in a calorie deficit, because if you do, that means that you're probably not in a calorie deficit. While I don't need to exceed my protein target by so much, more protein keeps hunger low, which makes it easier to stay in a deficit without feeling like I am ready to gnaw off my arm by the end of the day. Next, let me show you how I structure a strength training day, which I typically schedule on Tuesday, Friday, and Sunday. Since weekends are harder for most people, let's break down what my Sunday looks like during a fat loss phase. Just like every other day, my internal clock wakes me up at 6 a.m., which means I don't stay up late on Saturday because lifting heavy weights on low sleep sucks. Since I've trained my body to follow a schedule that actually gets results, my eyes pop open bright and early whether I go to bed at 10 p.m. or stay up till midnight. And then my body's like, oh, it's Sunday? Let's go deadlift 135 pounds 10 times in a row for no particular reason. Because apparently that's what I do for fun these days instead of brunch and mimosas. But I'm willing to make the sacrifice of a disciplined bedtime, even on weekends, since this routine is what keeps me at a healthy weight. And if you want to hit your goal, there may be sacrifices you have to make too. Because if you want your body to change, something about your routine also has to change. Just like yesterday, I wake up, check my weight, and throw on my workout clothes. Then it's time for my pre-workout shake. Since I want to fuel up for my workout, today's shake is a little bit different. To make a full protein shake, I add 4 ounces of coconut milk and 4 ounces of water, switch it up to 4 ounces of strawberries, a full scoop of Prime Equip protein powder, plus a full scoop of pre-workout, and I still add 5 grams of creatine. That's 178 calories with 27 grams of protein, which is enough to fuel my full MAP Symmetry workout, which is a full body 3-day per week program that helps balance strength on both sides. And since my posture still needs a ton of work, this is a great program for me. Following structured strength programs like this has made all the difference in getting that toned look that I chased for decades. So if you're unsure where to start, I definitely recommend the MAPS programs. After training, I head home for a mini meal before busting out a few thousand steps. Even though I always prioritize strength training over any cardio, it's still important to stay active, so I do my best to walk most days. Since I already know which meals I enjoy and that actually keep me full in a calorie deficit, I make the same half-grilled cheese and turkey with a side of berries that I had yesterday. Then it's time for a 45 to 60 minute walk at my desk treadmill, which is inclined and set between 2 to 2.2 miles per hour, which with that incline, the speed is enough to get my heart rate up between 120 and 130 beats per minute while I work, which is a great place to be. But if walking while working isn't your thing, here's another hack that you can use to get even more steps. Use that time to catch up on your favorite show or YouTube videos. When you get into the habit of getting activity while doing sedentary activities, your brain will start associating movement with screen time, making you more likely to stay active. I have another coffee shake after my walk, and around 1, I make one of my latest high-protein creations, which is a chicken bacon raspberry wrap. To put it together, I add 5 ounces of leftover chicken, which you can use grilled, rotisserie, or even lunch meat chicken, 7 grams of bacon bits, and half an ounce of cheese to a low-calorie wrap. Then I toast until the cheese is melted before topping with raspberry fruit spread. This is pretty filling, so I don't bother to add a side. But if you want one, something like carrot sticks or even cucumbers are low in calories and filling due to their volume and fiber. The meal comes out to 374 calories with 52 grams of protein. And then I have a snack around 3, which today I'm just having an Oikos Greek 000 vanilla yogurt, followed by another ounce of Skinny Pop. Sunday fun day in our house means grilled steak and truffle fries, which happens to be one of my favorite meals. Since this is a Sunday ritual, after I'm done walking, I prep the steak with a thin layer of avocado oil and season it with my homemade steak rub. I'll have my recipe linked to the description in case you want to test it out. To make the fries, I heat up these Ore-Ida crinkle fries in my air fryer and then toss in a light layer of truffle oil and salt. Dinner adds up to 479 calories with 44 grams of protein. To finish the day, I grab a yasso bar, which is a low-calorie, high-protein dessert that satisfies my sweet tooth without completely wrecking my progress. That brings my total to 1,762 calories with 191 grams of protein, which is perfect to continue leaning out without losing muscle. Even though I did work out today, which usually leads most people to eating more food, since I had more the night before with a meal out, I usually find that I'm naturally lower in calories on Sundays. My body still has plenty of leftover calories from the night before to help build muscle, so there's no need to overdo it on a strength training day if I don't feel hungry. I eat larger meals out twice per week. Usually Friday nights are spent at Panda Express and Saturday nights at a local pub or the Cheesecake Factory. Let's talk about how I structure a night out during a fat loss phase. I follow the same wake up and walking routine as we already talked about for my active walking day, since that's what I've designated for Saturdays. When it comes to food, I eat similarly on Saturdays as I do during the rest of the week, at least for breakfast and lunch. So for breakfast, I have a quick shake before my walk. Then I have a sandwich or wrap for lunch with a side of fruit. Since I find the most success eating the same meals on repeat, today I'll stick with the chicken bacon wrap that I had yesterday, but I'll switch it up with a 10-ounce serving of watermelon as a side because this is another great low-calorie, high-volume side. This combo adds 459 calories with 54 grams of protein. Since I want to keep protein high, I have a strawberry cheesecake yogurt as a snack, which is really easy to make when you mix 1 serving of vanilla Oikos yogurt with 15 grams of strawberry jelly and crumble 1 graham cracker on top. This one comes in at 190 calories with 18 grams of protein. Once it's time for dinner, we decide to order the Cheesecake Factory Inn, which you have to be wary of because this restaurant has a ton of high-calorie meals. But if you scour the menu, you'll see that there are also some hidden gems that are higher in protein and lower in calories that can fit nicely into your plan. Tonight, I go with the grilled chicken and avocado club, which comes in at 1,080 calories just for the sandwich. But it's not a total loss since that also comes with 82 grams of protein, at least per my macro app. Since I'm inching towards my calorie limit, I add a side salad and use the dressing sparingly, which I'm estimating my total meal to come in at 1,235 calories. Since I'm still under 2,000 calories, and I love dessert, I finished my meal with 2 of those rice cake s'mores, completing the day with 2,166 calories and 168.8 grams of protein, which yes, is above my 2,000 calorie limit. But since I also had a few days below 2,000 calories, I have leftover calories to indulge a little bit on the weekends. Now let's talk results. After showing you 3 typical fat loss days, here's what my real results look like this week. I tracked everything in my daily goal tracker, from calories eaten to calories burned, steps taken, body fat percent, and protein. Even though it looks intense, it takes less than 5 minutes a day and gives me way more insight than any overpriced app or influencer challenge ever could. Plus, this kind of tracking keeps me grounded because it reminds me what real sustainable fat loss looks like, not just what Instagram influencers want you to believe. This week, I averaged 1,948 calories a day with an average of 159 grams of protein, and I stayed very active with an average of more than 14,500 steps each day. Plus, I did 3 full body lifts in the gym. This helped my scale drop 1.06 pounds, while my body fat percent dropped another 27%. And even though those numbers might not make people gasp in the comments, especially when you're used to hearing about people dropping 5 pounds in a week with a detox, losing just over a pound in a week is the exact kind of progress that sticks long term. Because the truth is, I'm not just chasing a smaller number on the scale. I want a stronger, leaner version of myself, and that doesn't happen overnight. Now, is my smart scale 100% accurate? Definitely not. But it's consistent enough with showing fat loss trends to help me make progress without blowing $200 on a DEXA scan every month. If my goal is to lose 10 pounds of fat, this rate puts me on track to get there in 8 or 9 weeks if every week went exactly like this. But here's the part most people won't tell you. That isn't how fat loss works. Life happens. Hormones fluctuate. Then you throw in travel, cravings, your kid's birthday party, stress. Everything plays a role. So instead of expecting perfect weeks back to back, I build flexibility into my plan. For me, that might mean losing 5 pounds and then taking a break to practice maintenance for a few weeks. Then I might tackle the next 5 pounds after summer travel wraps up. Because I've finally learned that you don't have to live in a calorie deficit forever just to get results. And now that I actually understand what works for my body, I have complete confidence in my ability to lose fat whenever I want to. My plan from here is to average 2,000 calories a day until I drop my last 4 or 5 pounds, which should only take another month or so. If you're still trying to figure out what it takes for your body to lose fat without burning out, watch this video next. I walk you through the exact formula I use with clients, and honestly, the one I wish someone handed me back when I desperately wanted to lose 50 pounds, but didn't want to do anything stupid, like actually give up nachos.